It's a good AGam in Kansas morning. Good morning. Let's take a look and see what's coming up today. First, Ron Graber, a watershed specialist at K-State, talks about runoff control. Then Dr. Ignacio Ciampitti updates us on the status of sorghum in Kansas. And Britt with Empire Dairy talks about how the Beef Checkoff and BQA help dairy producers. Next, learn how Far East societies demand higher quality beef like grain-fed U.S. beef. We'll end with Dr. Chris Blevins and Dr. Katie Delf, who discuss issues surrounding the health of foals. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I have the opportunity to visit with Ron Graber. He's with Kansas State University, Watershed Specialist. Ron, I'd like to talk about runoff control in confined feeding operations, and not necessarily ones that have to have a permit, but just the ordinary farmer. And control things that they can do in their everyday operation in management to help the runoff from the farm from livestock waste.
Okay, well, thank you. Pleasure to have a chance to visit with you a little bit, and certainly there are several of us that work for K-State as watershed specialists, and situations like what you're describing is what we work with guys with all the time. Things that they can do. Some of them are pretty simple management kinds of things in their day-to-day operations, and a lot of times we think about permits and we think about the guys that are feeding 2,000 head or even more, and they're really a total confinement kind of situation, and those are guys that have a certain kind of a special set of regulations that apply to them. But there's a lot of guys out there that have some cattle that don't necessarily quite fit in that set of circumstances, but yet environmentally there's a lot of things that they can do. And we often hear about neighbors getting visits from the regulatory agency, and those aren't real pleasant. And so there's some fairly simple things that can be done that can maybe ward off those kinds of visits. And we certainly can visit about those things.
Well, and certainly the site that you pick is an issue, but a lot of times those sites have been determined maybe a generation back, and you're still trying to manage that. So what can I do with that site to make the runoff the best possible?
Yeah, that's very true, Kyle. A lot of times we do have those sites that Dad fed there and Grandpa fed there, and maybe moving the site to a different location is not the most desirable thing. So there's some things that we can do, and one of them that's just a really sound simple thing, but scraping our pens on a regular basis. If we get in there and try to scrape those pens and remove that waste material or that manure and get it spread on in a field somewhere at an agronomic rate, then that just helps prevent any runoff from coming out of those pens when we do get the big rainfall events. And many of us have experienced those in the past year. We've had some really wet conditions. So just scraping pens on a regular basis goes a long ways to not only helping prevent runoff, but also helps with cattle performance, because we know that if cattle are wading around in mud and manure and they're knee deep in it, then they expend a lot of energy just getting to the feed bunk or to the hay feeder. So scraping pens is a tremendous thing. Another thing that goes along with that is where does the runoff that comes out of those pens, where does it go? Is it going into a crop field? Is it going into a bar ditch, a stream? Where might that be going? And something as simple as planting a grass vegetative buffer below that pen, so that when some of that runoff does come out, it has a chance to go work its way through a dense stand of grass, and that grass can help filter out those solids, settle them out, and that way we keep those nutrients on a field and maybe from leaving the property and getting into a waterway.
We're visiting with Ron Graber. Ron is a watershed specialist with Kansas State University. This is Kyle Bauer reporting.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again. Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Hi folks, welcome to the agronomy farm, Kansas State University. Here this morning I would like to just briefly talk about sorghum. Main topics about planting update, early production problems, and some other things that we have been seeing in sorghum across the state. So when you're looking at sorghum, as a planting update, we are getting really close, mid-June, the end of June. Most of the sorghum across the state is finishing planted. We have a lot of sorghum coming also as a double crop. So for now on, after we finish those planting operations, what are the main things that we are looking, and what are the main production problems early season that we were encountering? So when you're looking at this type of stance on sorghum, you will start to see a couple of different things, just to emphasize at this point. Some things of planting, this sorghum was planted early in the season, and then you will start seeing issues of wet planting conditions and the interaction of probably no proper seedbed conditions and planting time. So how you will get to see those problems? Most of the times we tend to call this a non-uniform canopy. And why we say a non-uniform canopy is because we have many areas of the rows where we are missing plants, and then we have some areas of the rows that you will start finding plants that are really small, that they were coming 2 or maybe 3 weeks after the initial set of plants. And then that is producing basically two situations, so two different type of problems. One is gaps, and if depending on the size of the gaps, the sorghum has very good tillering capacity, so that tillering capacity will be helping us just to compensate for the lack of plants. So that problem might be not really a big problem when we're looking at sorghum at the end of the season or reaching flowering. Second one is plants that are very small size compared with the other plants. So those plants would probably slowly will try to catch up. But again, these two scenarios are producing what we call the non-uniform canopies. Those non-uniform canopies, they might have some potential impact for yields, later in the season. One of the main things just to emphasize at this point when you're looking at sorghum, you will see that situation. Sorghum is looking very good today. In many places, the non-uniform or root compaction was kind of specifically one of the main problems. We have seen situations of sorghum that was with very small root, very shallow roots, and then you will start seeing even so early in the season some sorghum under even drought situation. And those conditions are basically emphasizing lack of fruit development. Mostly in interaction with planting time, wet conditions exacerbating the problem, root compaction early at the planting time. So one of the things that we are looking at, when you're looking at this stand, and one of the main points to emphasize to our farmers is proper weed control. from now until the end of the season, I mean, sorghum will start moving to faster rates in the next month, moving to July, August. So looking at your nutrient needs, make sure that you emphasize and look at what basically, I mean, nitrogen application have you done. Remember, I mean, conditions were too wet in May, so that sorghum will probably start looking yellow if nitrogen is not available and start showing those deficiencies. I mean, because there is some large nitrogen need that is coming later in the season. I mean, when the plant is really growing exponentially.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
There's a lot of different ways of doing this woodwork, but all of it still takes both hands.
He had been told that by the orthopedic specialist in Enid, Oklahoma, that they would have to fuse his thumb.
And I said, no, cut it off, because I didn't want it sticking up. And I found out about the Kansas regenerative stem cell and went to Manhattan.
We were so impressed with how royally we were treated the first time we came to Kansas Regenerative.
We came in and he took out the stem cells. It took about an hour for him to process them before they put him back in my knees and my thumb. And we were out of here in about 4 hours and on our way back home. And I'm in here today to have my shoulders, my hips, and my back done. So I'll be able to go back to my sawmill, my shop, and do about anything I want to do.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your Beef Checkoff helps do that.
My family owns and operates Empire Dairy here in Wiggins, Colorado. My father-in-law, Jack Dinis, he came here from Portugal, and he has a long history of milking cows in his family, and they started milking in the United States in 1989. My husband, Norm, and my brother-in-law, Bill, a partner in the dairy. And you don't normally think about maybe the beef checkoff when you're a dairy producer, but there's certainly a lot that the checkoff does for dairy producers. We're about 20% of the beef supply. So Beef Quality Assurance has helped dairy producers by giving us some new tools and some new perspectives about things that we do on the dairy and how that translates into a beef carcass at the end of their life cycle. So some things that we talk about are injection site, loading and handling procedures to minimize bruising and we want to keep that animal in the best condition possible, not only for the health and welfare of the cow, but at the end of its production cycle, we want to produce a quality product that we can enter into the beef supply. At the end of the day, the more successful operation you can have, the better chance you give your kids to be able to carry on and continue in this industry. Norm and I have 3 kids that we hope someday will want to come back and take care of these cows and take care of this land.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com.
This is Eric Stonestreet, and as many of you know, I love my home state of Kansas. In March, Kansas ranchers lost homes, equipment, and thousands of cattle from the largest wildfires in the state's history. Imagine losing all you have in a fire. Not just your house, but your livelihood. Ranchers are beginning to rebuild, but it will take years and tens of millions of dollars to build back herds, fences, and other infrastructure. Today, I'm asking you to help. Donate what you can and show your support to the ranchers of Kansas. Simply go to kansasfires.com. Your donation is tax deductible and will go to those who need it the most.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
The strong U.S. dollar left our beef export trade at a disadvantage in recent years, despite growing opportunities in Southeast Asia. Without the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the beef trade is looking for other avenues to secure those markets.
That's why it's important now more than ever to really work to tear down those tariff and non-tariff barriers. And the best way to do that is through free trade agreements.
With beef supplies rising, exports must play a larger role in demand, especially for the cuts not much in demand here like tongue and tripe.
Our government could choose to withdraw from NAFTA, and that would mean that all of the tariffs that we placed on foreign goods would go back into place. It would also mean that all those goods, all the exports that we send to Mexico would receive that 25% tariff rate that they did pre-NAFTA.
The National Cattlemen's Beef Association is working with the government and industry to open more markets.
But we are capitalizing on that high-end grain-finished beef that Asian consumers are really buying in record numbers. And so we look forward to capitalizing on that and trying to add more value to the bottom line of our producers.
I'm Clint Mefford.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family-owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We are having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hello and welcome to Horsing Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center, joined today by Dr. Katie Delf. Welcome.
Thank you.
Dr. Delf is an assistant clinical professor here at the vet school and boarded in equine internal medicine. So it is a specialist here at the vet school and really takes care of a lot of the medical type cases for horses here at the school.
That's correct, yep.
Today, I would like to talk about a very important topic on foals. We see foals out in pasture. Everybody always thinks how cute they are. But what kind of things could go awry, or when that foal is first born, what things should an owner be watching for or doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, you know, once the foals are born, they should pretty quickly start to right themselves, so start to come into sternal and actually have a suckle reflex. You know, if you would kind of put your finger in their mouth pretty quickly within the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then at about 30 minutes after birth, they should be trying to get up, and by 1 hour, they should actually be standing, and then we say by 2 hours, they should be nursing as well. So it goes pretty quickly, and if they don't hit those benchmarks right away, that indicates that there could be a problem and that somebody likely needs to come out and examine that foal.
So knowing those things, and it's just, I think it's miraculous how fast from birth to standing and running, when things go well, that can happen. But yeah, if things don't go as planned, it's good to get a veterinarian involved as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's correct.
And with that, and what would be the recommendations of maybe other things the owner should be watching for on these foals as it progresses, you know, past that first few hours, and maybe everything's still okay, but when should the vet come out and maybe check this foal?
Yeah, so you should have a veterinarian out within the first 24 hours or so. It's ideal to draw some blood on your newborn foal and check their immunoglobulin level. And so we have a quick snap test that we can perform on the farm. And as long as that is an adequate level, then we know that we're good with that foal, as long as they're acting well and their physical exam was normal. If it's not adequate, then we would have to follow up with things like plasma, if needed in that foal. So,
and when you're saying like adequate snap and blood and those things, that has to do with its immune system, right? And fighting off diseases. And I guess, how do foals fight off disease with their immune system when they're first born? I guess some owners may not understand that.
Yep. So the foal has to ingest colostrum from its dam, and as long as the mare has adequate colostrum, then typically the foal is okay, and that's how they have a functioning immune system. If they don't get adequate colostrum or don't nurse for whatever reason, then their immune system will be not functioning appropriately and subject to potential infections, and foals can go downhill pretty quickly. So if they don't have that functioning immune system from the mare, then they can get sick pretty quickly, pretty easily.
You know, and I think that's sometimes things that we take for advantage of, you know, foals just out in the pasture and doing well, but there was a lot of things that had to happen correctly for there to be, you know, nice, vigorous foal.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, and I think probably the biggest thing to remember, and if owners have questions, they can sure give us a call here at the vet school or call your veterinarian when a foal is born. I think getting a veterinarian involved sooner than later always has a better outcome than kind of hitting it after the aspect of the foal being down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Dr. Delf, and the information on the foals.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Dr. Chris Blevins for Kansas State Veterinary Health Center, and we'll see you around.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.